Hello stars, welcome back. So if you are new here, first off, I'm a reader and a writer. This video, one moment. This video is a little bit different. I've done one of these before, but I'm going to be reading to you a short story that I wrote. This one is shorter than the last one, which is fine. I posted a short the other day of me rewriting this story, and I asked if I should read it to you guys, and one person said yes, and that is enough for me. So this story is called Dear Dreamers, just because I didn't know what to call it. If you are a writer or an avid daydreamer, I think this short story will really resonate with you. But yeah, all I'm gonna be doing is reading it to you. So give me a moment just to line it up so I can actually see the whole story. The music had already started by the time I arrived. Elegant, rhythmic music. The soft, classical piano harmonized with the hum of a violin's strings to create a sound that felt like it was composed by the ocean herself. It commanded you to sway along with it, given to the king so he could host a ball and bless his subjects with the sound. I brought myself down the stairs that connected the entrance to the floor, attempting to glide in a way that would make me blend in with the nobles, but we all knew we weren't the same. Although that may have meant something different to me than it did to them. This certainly wasn't my first time in the ballroom, but I had never seen it with so much company, nor so lavishly decorated. In other words, I had never seen the ballroom actually be used for a ball. There were vines that crept up each pillar, which there were numerous of, considering the entire right wall was made of glass to accommodate the private balconies, not to mention the much too high ceilings. The vines grew from the pots of roses that sat at the bottom of each pillar to connect the decor with the room itself. There were also tables of pastries that lined the room, untouched pastries. They were real, but no one dared to eat them. It would only make them appear gluttonous. The chefs obviously knew that too, as they designed each one with such intricate details it would nearly make one feel guilty for ruining it. But, of course, your attention wasn't meant to be captured by the pastry table. I somehow found myself at the edge of the room, as if it was instinct to shy away from the crowd. Despite what my recent endeavors might have suggested, it was, at one point in time. My eyes trailed over the dresses that swept across the floor, the real star of the show. They were guided by suits who wouldn't dare challenge the beauty of their partners. Instead, the beauty of their other half was woven into the fabric itself, like a show of possession. My dress did not have a pair, but that simply meant its beauty could stand on its own. A beauty that was sown by the wind, accents formed by the river, and jewels created by the heat of molten lava, simply because I am favored by Mother Nature, or whatever other gods roamed this reality. A hand was then held out to me. On the sidelines, there were many people who, like me, didn't have one to lay claim to, so we would mingle together. Or I would attempt to, but no one was truly capable of holding a conversation with me. But that was not what I was here to do. Mingle, I mean. The hand I took, who led me onto the floor despite being halfway through the song and of terrible manners, belonged to a man I was quite familiar with, one I was absolutely not supposed to blend with. I never did listen very well. Getting bored on your own? I questioned as he slipped his hand around my waist and pulled me closer. It was a practice move that allowed him to lead me along with the crowd. On the contrary, he whispered, his lips dipping closer to my ear, you were the one who looked like you could use some company. He let a smirk cross his lips as he pulled me even closer. Miss Hero. His features were sharp and cocky, the same way they always appeared, and yet I never seemed to get used to them. His hair dipped over his eyes as he looked down on me, and I could feel the muscles in his arm tense each time I adjusted my hand. And you thought that should be you, Mr. Villain? I threw his use of titles back at him, despite knowing that I was the only one in the room who knew of his secret. Well, aside from the king who glared at us from atop his throne, chained to his seat with invisible legal rules that commanded he didn't get involved with the rest of nobility, even if it meant his prized possession, his so-called hero, would be exposed to the one wilted flower in his garden, a flower that only still stood because he couldn't find shears sharp enough to cut it down. My partner spun me around, showing me off to the crowd, and by the time my eyes met his again, they were dark with a sinister sort of amusement. I thought we cleared that up. He pulled me back against his body, tighter than before now that we had eyes burning through us, and quirked a brow at my words. A suspicion clears nothing. I started with a smirk of my own. In fact, it only dirties the water. You might not be as villainous as I had first assumed, but you were certainly no hero. Oh, he spun us together this time, and brought his face within an inch of my own, to intimidate me or to ensure no one else heard, I wasn't sure. And you are? His eyes were locked onto mine, as if they saw exactly what I wished he couldn't, and yet he still managed to lead us with ease to the end of the song, even as I stiffened from the forbidden feeling of his breath on my skin. Because from what I remember... Scene break. Placing my pencil on the table, I lean back. I breathe because somehow I don't think I had been. When I look up, I remember. I am alone. The house is dark. At some point, the sun had laid itself down for the day, and I hadn't been aware enough to notice. The silence is deafening. No more lulling, ocean-like music. No more scent of decorative sweets and roses. No more sound of practiced heels hitting the marble ballroom floor. No more anything. My heart tightens, like a phantom hand has reached through my chest and squeezed my soul. I breathe. With my knees to my chest, I suddenly feel the absence of a body that was never there. There is no one in my house, no one except myself and a mind that keeps bringing me back to tightly woven corsets and hands that protectively grip my body, despite being the very hands I should need protecting from. I smile when my eyes land back on the page, not nearly as blank as when I started. They don't understand. They never will. Society can never understand how something so torturous is simultaneously so freeing, even as my soul aches in loneliness, even as that phantom hand pulls the strings of my emotions for people who never existed in the first place. I still crave it. The moon leaks into the darkness of my room, avoiding illuminating the words I have written, almost as if a warning. Don't get attached to what you cannot have. I can practically hear the lull in her voice, but I do not care. I pull at the string that hangs from under the lampshade stationed at the corner of my desk, burning my notebook in artificial light. I don't need her assistance to see. I place my pencil back in my hand and rest my eyes on the last words that were written. If I am to have a mind like this, then I will drown myself in the narrative of the worlds you cannot see. I will make you see them. I will write them into existence so you may feel the torture that goes on in my mind as well. I will curse myself to always be wishing for something more, but this is a feeling I cannot live without. The end. I don't know why I love that short story. Every time I read it, I just feel like I really relate to it, but I will see what you guys think of it. I don't read my own writing very often. I've only done this for one other short story that I wrote back in high school. Maybe it was the rewrite that I wrote in college, but either way. So I don't know if I'll be doing this very often, but every once in a while, it's a nice little break. But that is quite literally all we're doing today. So I hope you stars enjoyed, and I will see you all next week. No, at the end of this week, as per usual. Bye-bye.